We find ourselves in 1384, again in the Iberian Peninsula, and things have come to an halt for a while after Castile's defeat a few months ago. The Kingdom of Portugal was saved for now, but for how long, many wondered. King John of Aviz could feel the unrest throughout the peninsula, and he knew he must make ready in case of a new invasion by Castile. His first action was to task his most trusted general Nuno Álvares de Pereira with the defense of the Portuguese border with Spain in the region of Alentejo, a remote area in the south perfect to launch an invasion due to the fact that it is very plain and flat. It's easy to march and saves them a lot of time, in contrast with the northern Portugal, which is rugged and harsh. Nuno received 1,000 men from the king himself to help in the defense of this vast area. As he marched southwards, he would recruit even more men on the way, reaching the total amount of 1,400 footmen at his disposal, reminding that Beatrice had a direct claim to the throne as she was the daughter of the late dead King Ferdinand. She had many nobles backing up her claim, and of course there was John of Aviz, also claiming the throne with other group of nobles backing him up. The nobles on Beatrice's side were called John's supporters of the Messiahs of Lisbon. On the other hand, John's supporters were called Beatrice's nobles of Schematics. This word comes from the church schism, as Castile was loyal to the Pope of Avignon and they are not their supporters. Days later, the Castilian army arrives in Alentejo close to the village of Atoleiros, and Nuno sets his eyes upon them, observing and measuring their strength. He immediately noticed that their army, as usual, is much bigger than his. And the worst part, Castile had a large force of heavy cavalry which would be very hard to deal with, as it normally is the case. On the other side of the battlefield were 4 generals leading Castile, but the most important one amongst them all was no one other than Pedro Álvares Pereira, the brother of Nuno who chose Castile's side over his country and family. When they saw how the Portuguese army was outnumbered and outmatched, they thought they could either attack them, suffer a few losses but still win, or send an emissary and demand their surrenders and save their numbers. After a brief discussion, they agreed it would be best to demand a surrender. Therefore, they sent an emissary to the Portuguese camp demanding their surrender to Castile, which Nuno humbly refused, and sent the emissary back with his refusal and the invitation of a battle. And so it begins. Castile advances forward with their heavy cavalry willingly to bring a quick end to the battle. But the Portuguese arrived in Alentejo way before Castile and had more time to choose the terrain to fight on their terms. Therefore, they are formed into a square formation with lances and crossbowmen inside the square to shoot down any horsemen. The cavalry collides with the infantry and is brought to an halt, bringing disorder among their ranks, making them easy targets for the crossbowmen shooting from within the square. The battle didn't last long, causing severe casualties on Castile's side. Therefore, they started to retreat, being pursued all day long by a force gathered by Nuno Álvares Pereira, who hunted them down until 7 kilometers away from the Battle of Atoleiros played a very important mark. Apart from saving Portugal once again from being conquered, it was also the first time the usage of a new technique for a defending army with a numerical inferiority in the Iberian Peninsula, learned from the English in the face of a much superior cavalry. This tactic is called pé na terra, or foot on land in English, which consists of a pedestrian armed with spears forming into a square formation awaiting the charge of the enemy cavalry in order to repel it with ease. One of the most important notes of this battle is that although the Castile suffered severe casualties, mainly cavalry, which is the most important force of the army, on the Portuguese side there were no casualties at all, not even injuries were recorded. As a consequence, this battle proved that a band of peasants armed with spears could resist a much superior force, mostly made up of noble cavalry with this new tactic called foot on land, and it weakened Castile's morale and army and strengthened John of Avi's cause. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos, please subscribe, leave a like and click here to watch a previous one.